Hello, happy people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today, I thought I would do my review of the fourth novel in the Freeway Warrior. It's the final conclusion of this four-book set. Written by the guy who wrote Lone Wolf, called Joe Dever. It's called California Countdown, the Freeway Warrior series for you folks. I read a lot of his stuff when I was growing up as a kid, and he's on my appendix, and it's one of the most influential authors with myself and so forth, heavily influential other stuff, lots, and that sort of thing. But he gave his stuff away to all of his fans because he'd made his money. Like the first book, Flight from the Dark, sold like 100,000 copies in the UK alone, right? In like the first month. Dude made his money. So as a gift to fans and try to keep his stuff alive, past that, he decided to dedicate all of his copyrights and stuff to the fans. So there's a website called projectaeon.com, which I'll link you to in the comments below, where you can go and read his stuff. Now, I'd read all of his Lone Wolf stuff, but I hadn't read his Freeway Warrior stuff. This is stuff set... It was written, I think the first one in 88 or 89, something like that, late 80s. And the rest of them were written a couple in the early 90s. And this is a four-book series that finishes up. That is written by Joe Dever, a different artist than he normally works with, Gary Chuck. And there is, and it is a post-apocalyptic view of the future, where some gangs of terrorists struck and such, and they hit hard in 2012, 8 years prior to this happening in 2020, when you're about 20 years old, called Phoenix for you folks. You are from younger Southern California, and your parents were there too. And then you're on vacation with your aunt and uncle in southern Texas, touring one of their oil derricks inside and so forth that he owned. And they were, because of all the terrorist activity, all of them have been set up to be self-contained, just in case stuff would happen. So they had like all sorts of supplies, like food and water, attacks, and then they could have their own electricity. They had their own, stuff like that. And they could also make their own oil, or gasoline rather, for their engines and stuff from the oil proper. So they could just process it themselves, that sort of a thing. So you're there touring the facility with your uncle and uncle when a nuclear strike attacks. And then you are unable to get back up for 8 years. You got a CB radio. The static means that it hasn't cleared out the radiation yet for the area, and then you clear out once it starts to clear out, and you head out and you join a colony called DC-1, Dallas Colony 1, or right outside of Dallas, with some other people that survived that are nicer and want to help each other out rather than just the raiders and suppliers and gangs that are riddling the area and that survived. They're just all about raiding and killing and slaughtering people. So basically the idea here is that you have been attacked. The static is cleared. You set up a DC-1, a nearby outpost, for 6 months. And while you're down there, your aunt was a nurse, and so you learned medical stuff. And your dad was, of course, the owner of a coal mine, of an oil derrick, and knows a lot of things about putting together parts, mechanic stuff, making your own stuff out of scrap, that sort of a thing. And then once you arrive at DC-1, outside of the gangs and that sort of a thing, you meet up with a guy named Cutter, who is a mechanic from a nearby racetrack, and you guys will put together your own souped up curved car for you to drive around. And you were called Freeway Warrior by the bad guys because you are bringing justice against the bad people that are still out there running around. You're going to driving and shooting and stuff from him too, and then you're starting out. And so basically what's happening at the beginning of the first novel is that your parts, after about 6 months and so forth, and being there, your place is starting to get droughts and that sort of a thing, and so it's harder for you to grow crops, and so your food's running out. But you got plenty of oil from the local areas and your own supplies and that sort of a thing. So you contact on the CB radio and find a place called Big Spring nearby. It's a few hundred miles away. And then you find out there that they've got plenty of, that the weather there's fine. It's got plenty of food, but not a lot. But they're running out of oil. So you're going to get together a convoy and head out that way, and you are going to meet up with them and so forth. And the two of you are going to head out to Tucson, and then from Tucson, the two of you are going to head out. All the folks are going to head out to California. And so those are the 4 stages of the novel. Also at the beginning of the first novel is the travel. You also accidentally, while rescue the forced woman, wife of the bad guy who he also kills his brother too, so he's now sworn vengeance on you when he's going to do nothing. He can't stop to get back his woman to kill you too. So that's basically the setup and so forth. That happens earlier on in book 1. Then book 1 is the trip to Big Extreme. Book 2 is the trip to Tucson. To Dallas, to Fort Worth rather. And then the next one's the road to Tucson, and then now you're in the final book to California. And that sort of thing. So you've gained some people, you've added some stuff, and so you're sort of leveled up, but you're now in the final chapter. So basically what happens in this is that you start with 5 skills that you have a 3 in. And then as you complete each book, you add 4. And you also start with a 4 points. You can add beyond that. You can put all 4 in one and have a 7 and then 4 threes, or you can have a couple and so forth. And what I did, those are shooting and driving and stealth and survival and perception. And so basically, so I thought they were all going to be pretty used. So I put 2 into shooting for all the shooting stuff, and then I also put 1 each into, and then I put 1 into driving, because I thought you do driving a lot because you're the Freeway Warrior. It's heavily based on Mad Max and some other stuff too, right? And so I thought that would be a point too. And then I put a point into it, into perception. I figured if I could see those things. So basically what happens at the beginning of things for you to roll dice in that area, you'll add your bonus. And then it'll tell you if you have a certain number to go to those sections. And those sections are very, very high. So you need good numbers typically in those things. And so forth. But basically you need more in, I would have put 5 in stealth and driving, and put the extra, rather, I think that's the better stuff because stealth is used all over the time. Stealth isn't just how quickly you can creep around, it's also how well you can dodge. It's kind of like your dexterity score rather than stealth. Sure, you can use it for stealthy around too, but it's used constantly. Driving is too. And then I think shooting is actually better than you think. I think shooting's fine to start off with. Maybe split a point between shooting and driving. I think it would be fun because you're shooting a lot to make sure you hit people and so forth. And then what I did was after the first book, I put all 4 of my books going into the second book. I put all 4 of my points into stealth. And then the third book, I put, after finishing the second book, I put 2 points into stealth and 2 points into driving to get that back up to stealth. And then this last book, I put 1 point in stealth and then 1 point into perception, 1 point into driving, and 1 point into shooting in order to bring those up and such. So basically, that's the key concepts of how the skill system works. You're not choosing skills that are different. You have the same, you're just leveling them up at the same ability. Makes sense. And so that's a sort of a thing. Now, you don't have, over a time, like a healing skill like you would have in the Kai Lords. So you need to be better with your skillings. I rolled and I got a 25 in endurance and a 19 in close combat. And I added a +2, so you start with a +2 hunting knife, and so that gives you a side of 21. Great roll for the combat. Close combat skill, not as good. That's just about average for the middle one. So basically, the idea here is to do some. Is you will start with med packs that will heal you of 3 points each, whenever you want, and you can start up to 12 in your first aid kit. And so forth, but you can't use those to heal things that were taken from thirst or starve or hunger. So you also have a canteen with fresh water that hasn't been contaminated. You'll need to take drinks from regularly, and also meals that you'll need to eat regularly too. So you'll need to stock up on those. You got a backpack of 10 items, not 8, unlike the Kai. So it's explaining that you're going to use them a lot. But one of the issues is that you'll actually the more items you have in your backpack, the lower your stealth becomes. So you definitely need to be careful of that. And so for example, there's 3 meals that you start with, the max you can start with, that will actually drop your stealth down by 1. Not good, right? Also, each missile weapon you have, you can have pistols, machine pistols, and shotguns and rifles. You can start with one of them. Each of them has different shells. Well, the machine pistols and the pistols both have 9mm. And you got an ammo pouch that you can use for it. It'll store up to 40 shells of pistols and 20 shells of the 7.62 for our rifles and 10 shells of shotgun shells. When you choose each one to use, sometimes I'll just use the pistol for close range because it's got nice ammo, tons of ammo space and such. Also, as a reminder, that's max. That's not, there's a 4-to-1 ratio. So I typically probably care about 1/3 of my ammo pouch in each of those to make sure I got diverse aspects and such. Also, the missile weapons slow your stealth down, although I don't think that, but melee weapons don't, which I think is weird for the machine pistol and pistols. Those are pretty smaller. I can definitely see that for a shotgun or a rifle. Then lowering your stealth by 1, right by it. I didn't even remember myself for machine pistols or pistols. You can have 3 missile weapons and 2 melee weapons and such. And so that's the basic setup and such for stuff. So you're fighting fights in the game book setting, just like you would previously, tossing a d10 against the combat results table. You take your close combat skill and level and compare it to the other ones, get your combat results. That's your ratio. Then you toss a die 10, hope you're good. And then you resolve the combats based on that. And then you will definitely, I'm telling you just right now, lots of times, you are going to need to add your current, not total, hit points to things in order to make sure you have enough to give yourself. So you will need to use that stuff. Also long range shots will just automatically kill a person if you hit them. So you don't need to worry about engaging in combat and losing hit points. So you need to make sure you're embracing them, right? And so keep your hit points up with a liberal use of the med packs that you're going to come across and start with. Absolutely need to use them all up and down the block. All right. So I think it's a good final ending. I love the ending. I think it's great stuff. I think what happens, there's no spoilers, but I definitely enjoy what winds up happening with it and so forth. I like the traction of California. You're going into more and more enemy areas on their way there and so forth. It feels like a suitable ending, and some give me an 8.5 to this. I think it's a very strong ending by Joe Dever. Love it lots. So that is California Countdown. For you folks, I knocked it out over the last couple of nights. It was about 1.5 hours each night, so it's about 3 hours. But to read the rules, and I already knew what I would do and that sort of thing. So it'd be faster if you were. Right, it took me an extra hour for me to do the first one because I'd never read the rules for this, although they're similar in some ways, like the numbers that you're tossing d10s and such. And the combat way is done similar too. And then you're choosing different areas, trying to survive with different die rolls and such. So it's not the easiest game book to survive, but you can do well, especially if you have good stats and good hit points when you're doing stuff. Alrighty, so there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read this? And if so, what did you think about it? And you agree or disagree with 8.5 out of 10? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, please. All up and down the block. And then your comments are just as valid. Your opinion is just as valid as mine. And so let me know. But again, please keep it spoiler free. If you like this video, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky. Because I have 7 of these videos posting a week, and I do 3 of them for older things in science fiction like this one, fantasy and some, and horror and others. Like for example, right now I've got some stuff from on Sunday in fantasy. This one in science fiction I'm doing on Thursdays. And then on Tuesdays, I got H.P. Lovecraft's horror. So I got all 3 of those covered. So those 3 reviews. And then I also do, I've done like 20 or so. I did all 20 of the first books of Joe Dever stuff. I've also done all the Lone Wolf stuff, like World of Lone Wolf, the 4 books and set in the Southern Mother Moon. I've reviewed those. I've also reviewed recently the ones that were just published in the Autumn Snow, first 3 books in the Hunter's Trilogy too. And so, of course, if you're interested in this, check it out too. If you like that too, if you like the Joe Dever stuff and the world of Magnamon that he created, I love them lots. Or if you just want more game books, and you just write, I've also got some other stuff. I've done some of the Ace Game Books series and so forth, so that's out there too. You can check those out. You can also, it looks just like this one, and then you can also, but then we also have some other stuff too. Like on Monday, I do things like reviewing D&D modules or war games, like BattleTech stuff. I also do. Saturday, I did get to serials, the lost and forgotten art of the storytelling and so forth. On Friday, I do top 10s of movies, and then on Wednesday, I do video game reviews of older stuff. You know, all this older stuff out there tells you that that's my passion. That's where the channel's name comes from. It's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? And definitely our books that we've read and might have forgotten about by classic authors, or just the ones we've forgotten about that are all fallen off our radar, or short stories, or novels, novellas, rather, or whatever, right? But you get the idea. And there you are. I want to thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening, right, in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.